But so it's very interesting. There are a few things, few chazals that are related to this parsha that I think they somehow learned a lot, but I think that there's room to see the alumnus way of looking at it is seems to be something on what commentators are doing. So let's have a look at that. So we have a very interesting chazal in Masechet Sanhedrin, and over there, Rabbi Yochanan says that all Vayeshev, Kol Vayeshev Lashon Tzar, Kuf Vav and Aleph in Sanhedrin, and so he gives an example from Vayeshev in Parshas Vayeshev. Okay, and over there we know there's a whole Rashi about it. Bad things are about to happen with Yosef. So Lashon Tzar. But and then he brings a Vayeshev Yisrael Bashitim, and bad things happened over there, Magefa. But after that he brings our parsha, because it says Vayeshev where? Not in the parsha. It says in the last pasuk of last week's parsha. Now listen to how he quotes it. The Nemar, Vayeshev Yisrael Be'eretz Goshen, Vayikruvu Yimei Yisrael Lomos. It says Vayeshev Yisrael Be'eretz Goshen, and in this week's parsha it says Vayikruvu Yimei Yisrael Lomos. The dwelling of the Jewish people in Goshen, and now all of a sudden, Yaakov Avinu is passing away. It shows you, yeah, there you go again. Every time Vayeshev is bad news. Okay, which is peculiar to say the least. I mean, first he lived 17 years by Yaakov Yisrael Shvat Shoshana. What's the Nakuda exact? It didn't. Not like one played right into the other. And then where was talking? What was the Chesron in the Vayeshev Yisrael? We know that in the Vayeshev Parshas Vayeshev it says. It's about tzaddikim, they want to have it easy, whatever that means. And so there's some kind of a timer. Or Vayeshev Yisrael Bashitim is Eilach HaTaina Gedol Mizu, they're being Lizna Sispanos Maya. But here, presumably, if it's part of this pattern, it's a Lashon Tzar, so it implies there's some kind of chesron. Where's their chesron? So the Heilige Rashi says nothing. So gives us a wide open field over here. And the Mashah says, Ayin Rashi Tchulas Parshas Vayeshev. So, and that's all he says. So, like, now, both the Mashah and Rashi are my Zedus, so from the Rashi I got the Rishus to say something. Rashah seems to want to say something else, but he's finding that it's the Rashi Vayeshev. What, are you going to say again because Yaakov Yosef B'Shalom? It's again a time on him? I mean, one of such. Every one of the others, when they got to a certain point, they retired a little bit. I mean, yeah, however you learn it. And or even if you don't want to call it retiring, let's say the Gemara in Yuma Daf Lamed Ches, which I managed not to bring up here. Over there the Gemara says that Avraham Avinu Zakav Yosef Yeshiva Haya, and Yitzchak Avinu Zakav Yosef Yeshiva Haya, and Yaakov Avinu Zakav Yosef Yeshiva Haya, Shenem Aveni Yisrael Kavdim Yizakin. So that Zakin is a remez that was sitting there learning in Mitzrayim, harving in the Kail of Mitzrayim. So his eyes started affecting him. All right, but the point is, it's not like Yaakov is not performing on a very high level of chachma and tzidkus and all the virtues. Just he's not going through some difficult nisayon. So fine. So how do you get from there? That's what I'm saying. So for the Mashal to be going through to the Rashi beginning with Vayeshev is a very big doichik to learn that Rabbi Yochanan is going to hold that Yaakov had to die after 17 years. Why? Because he's sitting around too long. How long do you want to sit already? It doesn't sound like it's losing. Now, we all know. So to approach this, let's remind ourselves of this other medrash that we all know, because the Das Kanan brings it, and then all the Bali Musa hopped onto this Das Kanan, and it became a Das. But it's not a Gemara, it's not a Rashi. But there's a medrash that says that Yaakov lost 33 years because when Pari asked him how old he was, he said, well, I'm not as old as I look, because Ma'at V'roim. Yeah, I'm not that old, but I had a rough life. And he used the word Roim, which is a negative to say that. So it says in the Medrash that he lost 33 years of his life for doing that. And it says there, the remez is because there's 33 words in those psukim. But I'm timing that but there's no such thing in the Bavli. But I want to say more than that. The Bavli Taka holds, not like that. The Bavli holds that he lost 33 years a different way. Or Rabbi Yochanan, anyway. That he lost the 33 years because of how they lived here in Eretz Goshen. It says, Vayeshev Yisrael Beretz Mitzrayim Beretz Goshen. The Gemara quoted it as Vayeshev Yisrael Beretz Goshen. So right away on the side, it's Tzarech Laim Eretz Mitzrayim, but even saying Eretz Mitzrayim doesn't work either, because it says Beretz Mitzrayim, Beretz Goshen. So then now you want to make two missing words, and they're not even trying to do that. So it's an interesting akud that the Gemara says V'yesh Yisrael Beretz Goshen. They chapped onto that. What the teres is, because you can learn that the pshat is this Gemara is learning that there was a Geshmakite there. It's Goshen. There was the fat of the land. There's a little bit too much Geshmakite type that was going on, and that group of Yikra Yimei Yisrael almost is because it became too heinous. This is from the Avraham Shana of so part of the Gzera of Geri Zarach and all this, and the Mamas is too heinous. So it seems like that's maybe the Nakuda of what the Yochanan is saying. That the V'yesh Yisrael Beretz Goshen was too heinous. You don't have that Geshmak remez from the 33 words. Right? So we'll have to do 33 letters instead. Vayeshev is 4, Yisrael makes it 9, Be'eretz is 13, the tribe is 18, Be'eretz 22, Goshen 25, Vayosu 31, Bo 33. So we'll replace the 33 words with 33 letters, making a Geshmak remez. And that the pshat is that in Chanami, it's mitzvah kamach zu heimish in Eretz Goshen, and this was the Nakuda. Okay, but let me go about it a little bit of a different way. We know that the Gemara in Sotah Tainas that Reb Shuba Levi says, Sotah Mavavim Beis. Shuba Levi says that B'shvil arbot psiyos shalova pari lavron shnema v'itzav pari anosim v'yishalchu esrei nishtabed b'bonov arba me'eson. Over here there is a Rashi, but he just says shiliveu pari k'dachsu v'yitzav pari anosim v'yishalchu esrei. So he says that because of the levoya that Pari did to Avram when he left, he was Zeicha to be Mesabin and Klais for 400 years. So all of the, I don't want to exaggerate, so I'm going to disagree with all of them, so I don't want to make it sound like too big of a crowd. But quite a few Achrayim that are going, what did Avram do wrong over here in this story? So they say, no, you're right, Avram didn't do anything wrong. But Pari did something right. Pari did a levoya, which was a good thing. Avram didn't do anything wrong. So Memela later on, but who's going to have the schus to be Meshabed the 400 years of Klal Yisrael? So Pari chapped around because he did something good. That's what a lot of Achronim think. But Lulei Debriim, I don't think you can learn that way. Because it's doch when it's I mean, it's a relationship that's going on. It sounds like the relationship is expressed in this Levoya. Secondly, there's a special nakuda with Levoya because the Rambam says that from the whole chesed of Avraham Avinu, the ultimate is Levoya. Right? Very interesting Rambam. That he says Avraham is involving about chesed, machnesarech, everything, but the ultimate is Levoya. That's like the crown of Avraham's whole avodah is Levoya. And then it turns out that Parai, the Saigitz, right? He did Levoya, and then he's being Mishav with Klal. Tell him what happened over here. So it has to be a deep in a time like this. That this is how Rabbi Shua Levi went to Parshas. Because a very interesting thing happens when Avram is being escorted out. Because we're saying that this escort gave Pari a schus. So what does it say by this escort? It says, we sort of brought a few of the words, but it goes right, and there's two psukim back to back, very unusual and very interesting by contrast. Because the pasuk says like this. This is the pasuk the Gemara brings. Vayitzav al parei anoshim vayishalchu oisei v'sishtei v'skar saloi. Him, his wife, whatever he had. Then there's a new pasuk. They actually make a new parak out of it. But I don't know who would make that decision. But the point, it's a new parak, and it says like this: Vayal Avram Mitzrayim, and Avram is gegangen. Now we sort of the par is out of the picture, and the anoshim that he sent out of the picture. And now Avram got for zich. So it's what? Hu be'ishtoi, v'kol asoloi, v'loit imoi hanegva. Suddenly light showed up. He said, what's going on over here? You know, you have two psukim back to back. One pasuk says they gave him Levoya, him and his wife, and the ganze chev. Then the next pasuk goes, he's traveling along, him and his wife and light. So what happened over here? What's the thing with light? Because the teretz is. Now, by the way, did Pari give Avram any new money, any new gifts when he sent him away? No. Avimelech gave new money when he sent him away. Right? Or when he finished the thing with Sarah. But Pari didn't. All the money that Avram made from Pari is still the original money that Pari gave him before he chapped that he's the husband. Right? When he thinks he's just the brother. And Avram, he didn't correct that. So he's the husband with the brother, this and there. You know what I mean? He didn't work it out exactly and do all the math. But the fact is that he's still leaving with the same money that he got as the thing of being the brother. Right? That's the money he's leaving with. Now, what is a big part of the thing that Avram did in order to be the brother and get all the checks that they're given to the brother?
Balturim says Vade Nasan.
What?
No,
Balturim says Vade. I mean, Pusik Steitness. So I say like this. This Rabbi Shua Levi out upon him. Could be another Mandam Mahal like Balturim. I'm saying like, so he's running up like this. There's no new money. The money is still from being the brother, right? And as part of being the brother, what did he have to do? He had to make ice light. He had to erase light. Light is her real brother. Right? She had a brother. Her brother's Light. So Light had to play like he's one of the crowd. And Avram got to be the brother. And all the presents that went to Avram as the brother, because he's the uncle. But the point is, the Light is being cut out through the whole thing. He's the real brother. He's not getting any. So Mamela comes out that as they're going out, Avram is still not letting Pari know. Pari figured out that he's a husband, so he's a brother and a husband. He's an uncle and a husband. But he didn't let him know that Light's the brother, because that would have really gotten him angry, you understand? So, because he gave all the money off to the brother, she's got a real brother there. So Mamela, so what happens? So the Vaishalchu means they don't know where he's going. Part of the thing Avram is doing, he's not telling them where they're going. They're doing Levoya on him, but they don't know where he's leaving to. he's never telling them that he's going back to Eretz Yisrael because he doesn't want them to find out. It's still information that he's withholding from them. So he's leaving wherever he's going. He's hitting the road. By Shalach, he sent Anosim, whatever, he said goodbye at some point. Now, finally, once Anosim is occupied, then Vayal Avraham Anegba. Lloyd Imai, now they go back to normal life. Lloyd becomes Lloyd again, and they go in Anegba. You understand? So there's a whole mahalach here where the Pari was doing the Levoya while Avraham was still under the Shibud, he was still bowing to Pari a little bit in the process. He couldn't tell him exactly what's going on. So Mamela, there was a Shibud there. He took from Avraham the Midah with the Levoya, and Avraham is still in this system, you know what I mean? He's still a little bit has to play the game till he can get out of range. So Mamela, I'm saying that's the Chachma of Shul Levi. He says to Mamela, that's the way he gets the Shibud. Because he made the Levoya while Yena is still, can't tell him where he's going, can't tell him who's all the identities of the players. That's the one. So Mamela comes out of Murder Kazakh. That, yeah, so let's go back to later. So later, Avraham Cheshbon, they go back, Avraham Cheshbon's out with Lloyd, and that remains. Oh, so now there's a big zach that comes out. So I'm saying, so now Rabbi Shubal Levi it creates now a shita, which says that there's no taina on Yaakov for trying to prove that he's not old, that he's really had a bad life, because his biggest fear, Yaakov, is he doesn't want them to connect him to Avram. You know, in this system, Avram left and there still were things that wasn't so geschmack. So this is why I feel say that the whole time that Yosef was there, and Ivri, and you know, and Yaakov, and this and that, they never ever would have said that they're shaykh to Avram. And you go in Rabbi Shubal Levi, if you go into our other Gemara is Rabbi Yechon, but I'm saying if he's in the Bible, he's trying to bring Yosef to Rabbi Shubal Levi at the same time. So it says, in the world of Rabbi Shubal Levi, you have the Zelba Para. He lived 400 years. He was in the bottom. So you have the Zelba Para. You have pieces of Avram's story that were never clarified to him. You can't tell him that this island that's coming here is just the Einekaf and the Alta Zayda. But that scoundrel, that guy who fooled us, who he chased out of here, that's who's Einekaf all these people are. The ganze Meister with Yosef and the Brida and the this and the that is from that Chaberman. No, they can't tell him that. So there is a fantastic element to the whole narrative here, is that they can never show that they have anything to do with Avram. Yaakov is an alter, it's a chashuv yid, whatever, b'nei yisechad anachnu, you know what I mean? Gewalike yid, a chashuv yid, the two type Christ Zachen. Okay, that's all good. But Pari is not allowed to connect it back to that other one. So he has to tell Pari, I'm not so old. Because it's the Zelba Pari. If he's got a nest that he's living this long, but he's going to chap, wait a second. That he can't chap. So mainly has to say Ma'at V'roim. So in L'Sitasi and that Mahalach, there is no oinus on saying Ma'at V'roim. So the Bible says, no, that wasn't it. So why did they have the Kitzi Yomim and they only lived the 17 years and not the whole 50? So it is because the Yeshiv is Lashon Tzak, it's Vayeshev, Be'ez Goysim, Vayelzubah. They got a little too hymus, it's Goysim and too comfortable over there. And because of that, the Eibusher had to take away from them Yaakov Avinu and put, more pressure on the oilam, and so this guy knows I got. But that's it. But I'm saying that so this whole medrash that they have from the Das Game, that's Hashita Azah. But in the Bible, it says the Shuvah Levi and Sefer, and the Rabbi Yechon and Sanhedrin, it's really a whole different picture. And we even found the remnants of the 33 Yosef is a Kabbalah Sefer. So,
I'm not gonna go to